Hola amigos de Lemas, estamos aquí con Carina Maggar que nos va a contar sobre su libro Sobrevive a tu trabajo. Ay, ahí está. Y bueno, hi Karina, how are you? Thanks
I'm
for
s-
having us.
yeah, no problem. I'm sick and I'm sorry if I cough and if I have to take breaks, but other than that, I'm good.
Great. Thanks for having this chat with me today. So, the book How to Survive Your Work, it's such a funny book. I loved it. For someone who is like starting out their career, I'm like in my early 20s, so this was like a great head start of what's coming. What would be your like number one advice for someone like me who's just starting out in the corporate world?
Listen, I can't speak about the corporate world. I think it's pretty applicable to any industry that never stop looking out for new opportunities with your eyes and with your ears. Always keep the door open for new opportunities and be very in tune with what's going on around you.
Great, I love that. Yeah. Sometimes it's like hard to look for new opportunities when you're just starting out because it feels like so much.
Yeah, no, but it's even things like, if you're networking somewhere or if you're out for drinks somewhere and you meet someone interesting, if you've got a card or your email address, just say, can I have a Zoom call with you? I'd love your advice on something. Or can I have a virtual coffee with you? Can I help you in any way? What are you looking for in like a member of your staff? Um, Always look to make new connections and work on how you can better yourself.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a good advice. I will be applying that to myself. And I know you tell us in the book that your career has been a little bit all over the place, like you have done so much.
Mhm, mhm.
I think that's super interesting. And how did your background influence the style and the content of the book?
Well, I guess I studied graphic design at college, and then I studied advertising, and then I studied psychotherapy. So I think any work that I do is a mixture of all of those three different topics. Um, I suppose with my copywriting, that over the years has just influenced, like become my own style, which I suppose is quite funny, quite silly, quite sarcastic in places. That's just who I am. And I try and stay really authentic to how I want to say things and how I want to write things, as opposed to thinking about what other people might expect me to write or want me to write. So my main thing is being true and authentic to me whenever I do a piece of work. Um, and in terms of the style of the look and feel of all of my books, which are very, very different, I've spent a lot of time with different art directors, different creative directors. I've been involved in a lot of photography meetings and design meetings. Separate to that, I have a design mind myself.
Yeah.
And so I suppose over the years, I've learned different things, different rules. I've taken a lot of time to think about what I like and what I don't like. And, I'm 35 now. I went to college to study graphic design when I was 18. So I've had a long time to sort of collect a lot of material and take bits and bobs and come up with my own style. And again, it's something I did for me, not what I think people would want. And I think that's really important in anything you do, to do it for you and don't try and embody someone else's look, style, and feel.
How do you get to that point of like honoring what you want to do instead of what people want you to do?
For me, I had a lot of not arguments, but disagreements with the design team on several of the books, and it's healthy disagreements, it's creative disagreements. They think a certain color, I completely disagree. They think a certain typeface, and I completely disagree. I think I've always been quite confident in my opinions, and so that makes me very passionate about my decisions. And I suppose a lot of the time I'm just trusting my gut. I have a feeling that that isn't the right thing. And other times it's completely opposite. I'm not quite sure. And you have to trust the other person and say, listen, I'm not sure, but you are. So I'm going to let you do this one.
I love that. In your book, you emphasize like the importance of expressing one's opinion in the workplace. What strategies do you recommend for individuals who struggle with the self-doubt or fear speaking up or like advocating for themselves to confidently share their ideas and perspectives?
It's not so much a strategy, it's more a piece of advice, which is stop being so obsessed with yourself. No one cares about what you've got to say more than you.
Okay.
Get out of your head. If you have something to say, if you have an idea or a thought or a comment, by you not sharing that, you're doing yourself a disadvantage. You've actually just completely kicked yourself in the foot. No one knows that you've got an idea or a comment to share. And by you not sharing it, no one's ever going to know it existed. And what if it's the best idea, the best comment in the world? How do you expect people to notice you if you're not going to give anything to the table? You have to be noticed. And the thing is, you don't know the opportunities you're missing out on by not speaking up for yourself. So I've let many opportunities go because I've been shy or I haven't had enough confidence to say how I feel or what I think. And afterwards, I've thought, no one cares. Like, I'm the problem. They don't give a crap about me embarrassing myself or me saying the wrong thing. It's in my head. So my advice is get over yourself. You're blocking you.
I love that. Yeah, I think we can get like so inside our head and just like don't listen to anyone else and just think that what we're thinking is what everybody's thinking. So it's nice to have that
It,
real reminder.
it could be the most important comment. Like, you might think it's not very much, but by you sharing it, it might spark an entire new conversation that wouldn't have happened if you hadn't shared that comment. So, and also, if you're sitting in a meeting and you're dying to say something and you're too shy, just think, next week, am I going to look back and think, oh, I should have just said it? Don't live with regret. And if you're super duper duper shy and you really can't bring yourself to say it, whatever it is, whatever contribution you want to make, can you afterwards email someone about it? Could you grab a coffee and say, listen, I really wanted to say blah blah blah, but I didn't feel like it was my place? Could you do it another way? But another thing, in life, in any situation outside of work, in a relationship, maybe, whatever, you need to learn to be confident in your thoughts, views, actions, and comments, or you will allow people to trample over you and take advantage of you throughout your life. So it's very important to start implementing these things in the workplace because they'll start to take control and like have a domino effect and other things. So like stand your ground and say what you want to say. What's the worst that can happen? Absolutely nothing.
That's such a great piece of advice. Thank you so much, Karina. That's like so important to remember, like starting in your early career or like every moment of your life. Like being confident is such a bonus in life, and like you really, really need to do it in order to go somewhere.
You do, but also one more thing I will say is I'm confident now, and I always have been a little bit confident, but to get to where I am now, you can fake it, you can pretend. So just pretend, like, completely take on your, who's Beyonce's alter ego? Sasha Fierce. Like, who's your alter ego? Embody it and pretend until you become what you have been pretending to be. It is possible.
I love that part of your book where you say like no one knows what they're doing. Like they're just faking it and everyone is like doing it and like trying to pretend they know what they're doing, but no one warns like knowing what they're doing or what they're doing to get like a promotion or anything. You're just learning through the process. And that's something I know we have to keep in mind, but sometimes it's so hard. So thank you for the reminder.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, like reflecting on your diverse career, which role taught you the most about making work enjoyable?
Um, it's not so much a role. It's more, I've come to the realization that there's not always a way to make every job enjoyable.
Yeah.
And it's really important because I've had a few jobs where I've known within the first 6 months that it's not going to make me happy and it's not the right job for me. And I've stayed for another 2 years. And I've stayed out of fear, or I haven't wanted to offend my boss, or I've been too scared to have a conversation with my boss, or I've thought, oh no, it means I need to look for another job. And you go back and forth, and you're miserable. It's so important to just trust yourself and leave a job that you are miserable in before it affects your mental health. And, you know, I still think about terrible jobs I've had now. When I think about them, I physically feel really stressed, and no one should put up with that.
Yeah.
So, on the flip side, back to your question, if the job isn't terrible and you are enjoying it, how to make it more enjoyable? For me, it's very simple things, and I don't know if this is the answer you're looking for, but always leave your desk for lunch. Always take a walk, get some vitamin D, go out in the sun or the rain. Um, it's really important to leave your environment. What can you do that makes every day slightly different? And I mean that in a really simple way. Like at lunch, can you sometimes go for a walk? Can you sometimes bicycle? Can you sometimes just go into a bookstore and have a look around, or just sit on a bench and watch people and just get off your phone and get off TikTok and actually see what's going on in the world around you, or read a book. Don't eat the same thing for lunch every day. That gets very boring. Don't go for lunch with the same people every day, or don't talk to the same people every day. Make an effort to talk to someone new in your office, and not just how was your evening? Like, what films are you watching? What book are you reading? Is there anything I can do to help you on the project you're working on? Or, you know, your office is surrounded by people who have skills that you don't have. So what can you learn from them? And vice versa. You must have a skill that they don't have. Simple things like if you have a boring desk against a boring white wall, can you bring in a plant? Can you decorate your desk? If it's a quiet office, can you ask your boss if they can play some music? Can you listen to music? When it gets to Friday afternoon, 4 o'clock and it's Friday, can you have some drinks? Can they bring in some cake? Like, is there something that people can do within the culture to make Fridays feel a bit more exciting? Um, so yeah, and talking to people, if there's a coffee machine or a water machine, go and talk to whoever's making the coffee. Offer, does anyone want a coffee? Any little thing at any point throughout your day that makes it different to the day before will keep your job enjoyable. It gets crap when every day starts to be the same and you're not learning anything that way.
Yeah. I think that's also like a hard reminder. When I was reading your book, then I had to do like some homework for school and whatever. And I was just like, okay, I'm gonna have dinner like on my desk with my computer. And I was like, no, I cannot do that. Otherwise, I'm gonna starting to burn out and like hate my life.
I mean, in the book, I literally I love food, right? And I think about every meal and it really excites me. And I've had so many jobs where I'd have like some shit lunch and I'm there and I'm just like, I'm in a rush because I've got this thing due in an hour. And like, not only am I eating something that's crap and it's unhealthy and it's not going to make me feel good, but I haven't left the situation I've been in since 8 or 9 a.m. Like, that's not life. And food is one of the small things you can enjoy in your day. So no one's going to miss you for an hour. Listen, I know there are exceptions. There are times when I really did have to eat at my desk. But every day, if you were eating some crappy sandwich at your desk in a rush, it's not good for your body. It's not good for your digestion. It's definitely not good for your mental health. And everyone won't miss you if you go and take at least 45 minutes to go anywhere else and take some time for yourself. And it breaks up your day. Like, you need little sections of the day where you can just, take a breather.
I used to have a coworker in my last job who said, we're making PDFs, we're not saving lives. And I think that's like such an important reminder to keep in mind. Like, exactly, you're not like curing brain cancer or whatever. You're just doing a PowerPoint presentation. Like, it can wait.
Complete,
You can go to it, lunch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
For people who are like trying to achieve this work-life balance, what advice would you give them?
It's really tough. I've never had a problem with work-life balance. I suppose because I've never been in a job stressful enough where there hasn't been a balance. So I totally understand there are people who have jobs in certain industries where it's really impossible, where work is pretty much your life. And I can't speak about that experience because, Elon Musk, he absolutely does not have a work-life balance. I'm sure because all his energy is going into work. What the hell is going on in his personal life? What does he do for fun? How's his mind? I can't speak on what it must be like to be someone like that. But in someone who's in, your average, not so stressful job and they are letting their job sort of take over their lives, I suppose there are very simple things like when your work day ends, turn off your work phone, or turn off your notifications, or make it very well known to people, listen, past 6 p.m. on a weekday, I'm not paid enough for this. Or, I can't, it's not good for me. Sorry, I need to switch off. My working hours are 9 to 5, with exception, again, there were certain times where I was working on projects up until 10 p.m. and that's okay. It does happen and that is completely fine. Um, but the balance is really tricky because if you work very hard and you've got a very demanding job that you care about, other areas of your life are going to suffer. Your friendships, your relationships, your health, they're all going to suffer. So you have to decide what you want to put your energy into. I understand that you have to work really hard to get where you want to be. And for a few years, maybe you won't have the holidays or you won't have the relationship. You'll always have the weekends, hopefully, but you need to recognize in yourself when it's affecting you. Like when you start to feel sad, bad, unhealthy, that's where you need to sit down and think, right, this is not worth it. It's just a job that maybe you don't even care enough about. Or maybe you do. At the end of the day, it's just a job. Why am I doing this? What can I change? Do I need to be paid more? Do I need to have a conversation with my manager about boundaries? Um, so it's for every individual to assess the moment that they feel very overwhelmed, something's got to change.
I love that. And I think like also with past generations, it was like you have to go all in for your job. Like your job is the most important thing and your career is the most important thing. And you have to give it your 100% in order to be able to grow. But
Yeah,
there's also a thing I love about your book that you said the term career is kind of outdated and we have to switch it up.
yeah.
What mindset should we replace it for? Or what word?
Like, in, so I don't know if it translates, but we have this term that you climb up the career ladder, which is
Yeah.
obviously like, I'm studying to be an accountant, so I start at the bottom of the ladder and I work all the way up this accountant ladder. Well, what if you spend 5 years as an accountant and then think, oh, I actually want to be a gardener. I really love plants. That was a different time in my life and I've changed. Well, you can jump to another ladder. You just
Yeah.
keep jumping between ladders. Like I hate when not I hate when people say I've had a crazy career because I don't think of it as a career because in a way it's not really made sense what I've done and in my mind career means one thing. Instead I've literally just had a series of experiences, a collection of different jobs
I
that
love
has
that.
got me to where I am today. But there's no shame in doing a degree in something or starting a career in one thing and spending 10 years doing that thing and then going, you know what, I've done enough. I can't progress anymore. It's not making me happy. I'm going to move on to a different ladder now. And then you just collect all your ladders.
I think it's so good to like embrace change and like be true to yourself when you know this isn't working and this is not what you want. And what you said before about like honoring what you want and on what peop other people expect. And if you want to change the ladder, just change the ladder and it doesn't matter.
No one cares. Again,
Yeah.
it goes back to that point of, with exceptions, I do understand, a lot of pressure that certain young people feel maybe from their family, you've got to be a doctor, you've got to be a dentist, you've got to be a lawyer, and then you're well and truly stuck, or you don't have the approval or the backing of your family. That's different. But it's very important that whatever you do is for you, because at the end of the day, it's your life. If one day, like I said, you're working in IT and the next day you decide you want to be the best sandwich maker in the country, people are just going to go, wow, that's weird, that's cool, go for it. No one's going to go, that's embarrassing, that's strange, why are you doing that? And if they do, it's because they're jealous,
Yeah.
or it's insecurity that there's actually something that they want to do and they're not doing it. No one should care what you do with your life.
Yeah, I love that. We just have to keep in mind that no one cares about our life more than we do, or that we should do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and everything that you worry about is in your head. If it
Yeah,
hasn't happened, it doesn't exist.
totally. And I love that your book is like such a funny way to put things in perspective. And like there's humor throughout of it. So what role do you think humor plays in coping with the workplace challenges?
It's really important. If you don't laugh, you're going to cry. And I definitely think that laughing is way more fun than crying.
Totally
Uh,
agree.
yeah. And if you can choose between the emotions, definitely go for happier than sadder. And I also think, like any situation that is stressful in the workplace, if you can bring a bit of humor to it, people are only going to like or respect or warm to you more because of it. And I'm not saying come up with some stupid joke for the sake of it, but if you can put a light-hearted, less stressful spin on a situation, there's only something positive that's going to come out of that.
Yeah, I love that. And just to finish, if readers take only one lesson from your book, what should it be?
Don't be afraid of failure. And everyone has that piece of advice, I think. When I was interviewing people for how to make work not suck,
Yeah.
um, I would ask them, what's your piece of advice to me or anyone starting out in their career? And I think everyone minus one person said, don't be afraid to fail, don't be afraid to fuck up. And it's so true. Like, again, it's all in your head. Lots of opportunities come from failure. It's the only way you learn. If your
Yeah.
whole life is plain sailing and everything works out for you, you're not pushing yourself hard enough. You've kept within a very safe parameter, which is fine. But if you really want to take it to the next level, you're going to have to really mess up somehow. Because then you're going to look back and you're going to go, interesting. Getting that wrong has made me think about it this way, or this is a new set of skills that I've learned. And I have had some massive failures. Like, I've had embarrassing ones. I've had ones that even to this day, I think, oh my God, I really fucked up. That's so bad that thing happened. But now, because I've screwed up and I learnt loads, now when I go into situations that make me feel a bit uneasy, I just think nothing could have been as bad as that time. It's almost like you need to set the sort of barrier. um but I truly believe that when you learn the most and when you step out of your comfort zone, that is when the best work or ideas or interactions happen.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the part of like setting the bar low so you can remember like I already did that. There's nothing that can go as wrong as that.
Yeah, perfect. And I'm sure you felt that kind of in a way you're proud of yourself. Like, you got through that thing, and,
Yeah.
whatever else is just, who cares? It's in your head.